All right, go ahead.
Sonst muss man das bestätigen. Ne? Oh. Hi everybody, I'm Bernhard Ott from the Wagram region in Lower Austria, and I will introduce you our new vintage, a wonderful vintage 21. And for me, it's a absolutely typical cold climate vintage. It's for me a mix. This is my 29th vintage in my winery, and for me it's a mix, a little bit of 2010 of a very elegant vintage with a good acidity, and also a little bit of 2013, ripe and rich. And typical for this vintage is a very, very intense elegance, good acidity, a low pH, and very high but ripe grapes in best conditions. We harvest from the 20th September to the 15th of October. Is a little bit later as in the last year, so it's a normal year for us. And the growing conditions was completely different the whole year to other years. During the winter, we had a lot of humidity from the last year. 20 was a wet year, and our loess soils can store a lot of water. But on the first 3 months of the year, in January, February, and March, it was absolutely dry and very cold, and so the first shoots starts very, very late. And this is not bad for us because in very warm spring times we have also some problems with late frost, and this year it's happened nothing, and the shoots grow and starts completely healthy. Also due to the dry weather, we have no problems with diseases. This was great. And in May, it was warmer, but not so hot as in the normal year. As we'll see, also the whole year was more like a year in the 90s. So it was a little bit cooler as the last years. And so also the character of the wine is more like a cold climate vintage. The blossom starts a little bit earlier, so on the 15th of June, and it was the whole time due to the weather very, very, very dry, and it grows and grows, and we are completely surprised because the wines can take the water from the soil, and it's on the surface it was completely dry, and so the wines are completely healthy. And after the flowering in the end of June, it starts to rain, and this was okay. It was just a little bit tricky, but we worked since 16 years on biodynamic farming, and so we know all the problems, and so we can manage it very, very well this year. And we need the water, but easier for us is it when the water comes during the winter time and not during the growing season. But in July and in August we got a lot of rain. It was wonderful. The soil takes the water, and on the middle of the beginning or middle of August, it's getting better the weather. And till the end of harvest, we have only 2 days of rain till the end of October. So the ripening season was great. And this helps us a lot to get completely healthy and wonderful grapes. And so a crazy year, dry during the first 3 months, cold, a late beginning of growing, Then July water, and after a wonderful time of ripening with absolutely wonderful warm days and very, very cold nights. And this brings also the elegance of this vintage, also the pH. We started on the 20th of September with the harvest, and normally we start with a pH of 3.3, and this year we start with 3.15, 3.2. It was for us great, and the natural fermentations worked perfect due to the lower pH. We don't add any sulfur on the grapes. We work 100% without all in the vinification, and we harvest 100% by hand. This is for the whole winery since ever. We never use a harvesting machine, and we bring the grapes to the cellar. And this year we work 100% with skin contact. We only crush the grapes. We work with the whole stems, and we wait for, due to the good acidity, we wait for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours for a skin contact, and we lose a little bit of acidity, and we take all the character out of the skin. The skin of the Grüner Veltliner is very, very intense, and also in this year we have a lot of spiciness and elegance. So spiciness is typical for Grüner Veltliner in the skin, and we started this year the first time also with basket presses, and this is a very, very old way of vinification. Also my father, my grandfather, and also generations before worked with wooden basket presses, and we ordered this year for this vintage 2 of this basket presses. This is also first basket presses for white wine in Lower Austria or in Austria, and we put the crushed grapes in the baskets. We use also the stems for the drainage, and then we press it in 2 times. The first time for 2 hours, and we get in the first time I think 40, 45, 50% out, and in the second press the rest of 60%. Normally below we have to press on 75%, but with these presses we went down to 60, 62, 64%. This brings also more elegance and more preciseness to the wine and also to the juice. You can see here the juice. It's completely clear, and we take all the first run, the free run together. We don't sediment anything. We take all the juice directly to the barrels and ferment it naturally. And also very, very interesting on this way of vinification is also the pressed berries are completely fresh, smells completely fresh. In a normal pneumatic press, you have a lot of influence of oxygen, and with the system you have a very pure and I will say traditional, typical elegance comes back to the wines. Vinification was in oak barrels, mainly for the Ott, and also a little bit for Amberg and Fasfir. And the single vineyards 100% in oak barrels. And this is a part of our harvesting team. And you see also the 2 presses in progress. The fermentation in 90% works completely fast. We ferment, I think, maximum for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And some barrels take longer time, and this is finished before Christmas. So for the vintage, elegant, fine, very structured, low pH, spicy, and for me, absolutely outstanding vintage with healthy grapes. And I think also a wine, the wines can store for a very, very long time. I think for the single vineyard, it's up to 30, 40 years without the problem. And the wines are for me in a good balance, and for me, an absolutely great vintage and a new experience, because 21 is unique in the last 20, for me, in the last 29 years.
Thank you very much, Bernhard.